Hey guys, I'm your host, Filup Molina, and welcome back to SourceFedNERD. Yeah, okay, a little support next time, guys. So, you guys know how each year Fortune magazine puts out its Fortune 500 list ranking the top earning American companies for that fiscal year? Sounds boring as hell, right? Well, now Time magazine's Fansided outlet has decided to rank something we care about. It's a list of literally the things we care about. The Fandom 250, the ultimate ranking of fandoms from sports teams to entertainment, celebrities to brands. And even though the #1 fandom on the list was the Chicago Cubs, don't think that it's actually heavily swayed in the direction of sports. A bunch of really nerdy properties made it to the top 10 too. Here's the thing, we tried really hard, but we cannot determine just how Fansided decided these rankings. We did find that they asked a lot of people on subreddits to explain why their fandom was the best one, but other than that, we don't know how they scored this thing. But what the hell, competition is fun, and we realized of all the people to determine whether or not this list is bull or like legit, you guys are probably the most qualified to size it up. Which property do you guys think fans are the most passionate about? Let's start going over some of the rankings from the Fandom 250 to get us started. In the lower 50, so between rankings 200 and 250, the fandoms that people are very passionate about but barely made the cut, we've got in the lowest spot at number 250, Westworld. Now that actually kind of makes sense because we've got literally like just over 10 hours of this thing. It actually is a testament to how good that show is that with so little time, it's managed to make this list at all. If you're a fan, by the way, make sure to check out our season 2 theories video right here maybe. Can you click there, right there? We've got Tesla at number 247, and I'm actually real happy for them because I consider myself a big Tesla fan, and these are the people that are literally trying to get us to have the futuristic technology we've always dreamed of. But guys, down pretty low on this list at number 246 is X-Men. Like the entirety of that franchise. With news today that they're gonna be making another one of these following the Dark Phoenix story, and that Legion show is coming soon, it feels like it's pretty damn relevant. I mean, they're ranked lower than Lost, which is 244, and that show hasn't even been on the air in 6 years. Yeah, it's also ranked lower than The Legend of Zelda at number 241, and Joss Whedon, like himself, at number 220. Funnily enough, Joss Whedon is a huge X-Men fan and wrote that excellent, astonishing X-Men comic book run, and yet he's beating that entire world out. That said, I wonder if DC Comics is feeling a worse sting, because they're coming in at number 211. Like, DC Comics is such a vast enterprise, and according to this list, people are more excited about Chris Hemsworth, number 200, than DC Comics. Yikes. Jumping forward to numbers 199 to 150, there weren't a ton of nerd properties here, but it's worth mentioning that Call of Duty's at number 176, which I get, even though I'm personally not the biggest fan. But I'm really pumped to see that Back to the Future, freaking 30 years later, is at number 174. It's just like a perfect trilogy of movies, as long as you don't focus too much on the third one. Maybe even better is the modern mutated descendant of Back to the Future beat it out at number 171, and that's Rick and Morty. It's actually one of the few comedy fandoms that even made it on this list at all. And it's actually pretty accurate because something about that show has just made it click with people. It's a testament to Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon's mind-twisting stories. They're like the Black Mirror of cartoon shows. Moving on to numbers 100 to 149, I'm gonna highlight the fact that freaking Deadpool's at number 117. That's amazing. What's crazy is cut back to January before the movie came out, and I don't know if Deadpool would have made this list at all. Was the movie that good that it already has more intense diehard fans than all of DC Comics? I mean, maybe actually. Or maybe it was just the most perfectly timed movie release ever. Like, right smack in the middle of the build-up to the two grandest scale comic book movies up to that point, we have this ridiculous Merc just calling it all out for all its bullshit. It was refreshing as hell. Up ahead of this at number 115, we've got Sherlock, which I love this show, but when your seasons are so many years apart and you have so few episodes at all, it's kind of easy for your excitement to fade a little. So it's a little surprising to be up there. I do get having Lord of the Rings at 108 though. People have been obsessed with that story for 60 years now, and it inspired so many other things that have come since then. Nearing the end here, from number 50 to 99, we've got esports at 94, which, yeah, people are obsessed with that. Spider-Man at number 72. Did you know he's also the most profitable superhero in the world? Like, it's not even close. He makes way more than any of the other superheroes do. I gotta say this just as, Filup talking here, but I think the reason that Spider-Man clicks so hard for his fans is because he basically is them. Most superheroes are already these towering figures that probably would have gotten like mega laid all the time even without their powers. Peter Parker looks like he collects comic books. The fact that he gets to be an everyman but also a really badass hero with like really excellent snark, of course he's mega successful. But Fansided still ranks him lower than Superman and Supergirl, which for some reason they put together at number 60. I mean, like, I guess if you combine them, sure, but I gotta say, I think the Supergirl show is pretty great, but I would have thought Superman were a big enough deal that his own fandom by himself could stand alone and probably still rank pretty high. So I don't know about that one. But all right, let's wrap it up here. In the top 50 fandoms, the nerd properties are... Actually, at this top part of the list, there are a lot of them, so I'm just gonna rattle some off. At number 39, you've got Doctor Who. At number 35 is all of Pixar. At number 27, you have Marvel. Does anybody feel like that's a little low maybe for them? It's actually one behind the other tech company that's on here, Apple, which comes in at number 26. Are people bigger Apple heads than they are Marvel heads? Like, I guess in terms of how much money you end up pouring into your fandom, yeah, maybe. At number 18 is Pokemon, and obviously that's gotta be a lot higher this year thanks to Pokemon Go, which I bet actually reawakened a lot of Poke fanboys to get it ranked this high. I always knew it was a huge fandom, but I think a lot of people just rediscovered how much they still cared this year. And number 16 is the behemoth that is Disney, which I'm gonna point out, if we counted Disney as everything that Disney owns, yeah, it's number one like easily. But since Marvel and everything is kind of cut out into its own sections, then this probably just refers to Disney specific properties like the various Disney princesses and Mickey Mouse and stuff like that. Actually, when you realize it's just that stuff, this is actually a really high ranking. Like, do those characters still click as much for you guys? Same question applies to number 14, because that's Star Trek. I do think the recent movies have made the franchise really fun. I was obsessed with The Next Generation when that was on, but I don't know that I'd say I'm surrounded by fans that are going like freaking nuts for Star Trek. It's not a dig at the franchise, it's just an observation I'm having. Now at number 13, this I totally get, we got Batman. Like, I knew The Dark Knight would be high up on this list, and while he didn't crack the top 10, he's way ahead of Superman and Supergirl, all of DC Comics, all of the X-Men, and considering my own obsession, yeah, I'd say, yeah, people are freaking obsessed with the Caped Crusader. This is not a surprise. Speaking of the top 10, these are the biggies, the most intense, passionate, best, however that's quantified, fandoms out there. And at number 10 is Harry Potter fans. And here's what's nuts. While 10 is obviously very high, they got beat by The Walking Dead at number 7. I mean, like, I'm a big Walking Dead fan. I haven't loved this season, but I probably would never consider getting a Walking Dead tattoo, and I don't know many people that would. Meanwhile, I bet there's like a number of people out there with a Harry Potter freaking middle of the forehead lightning tattoo. I like that I keep measuring fandoms and tattoos, by the way. Like, if that were true, then hummingbirds and infinity symbols would be topping out this list. But instead, at number 4, we've got Game of Thrones. Hell yes. This is what I keep trying to explain to those that don't watch it. It's not just like a thing that a lot of people are watching, it's bigger than that. It's a marker on our pop culture history right now. Not watching Game of Thrones is like sitting out at Star Wars in the 80s. It's worth watching just to take part in this huge cultural phenomenon. Obviously, this argument applies even more to Star Wars itself, which comes in right between the Chicago Cubs and Beyonce as the top nerd property on this entire list at number 2. And yeah, of course, I'm kind of surprised it was not number 1. Star Wars is the biggest thing ever, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on why that is. Like, to be honest, until recently, it was kind of a dormant franchise in terms of new material, and yet I still would have put it at the top of the list then. What makes Star Wars so unique, like, over all of these other properties? Anyway, like I said before, you guys are the exact right people to grade this list and to, like, fix it if they made any mistakes. So let us know in the comments down below if you think they got it right, or more likely, what you think they got wrong. Also, big thanks to the Works Aero Cart for sponsoring this episode. Guys, it's literally just a cart that is really good at helping you lift really heavy stuff. And I'm super bad at lifting heavy things, so I need it. It works really well for us in helping move studio equipment around, but for you outdoorsy types, it's like a freaking exosuit or something because it multiplies your lifting power by 4. I mean, 4 times 0 for me is still 0, but you know what? I don't want my dad to have to carry stuff around by himself anymore. And with this cart, he could lift his heavy junk alone. Like bags of mulch, not like his like heavy junk. Whatever. Solid gift for the parents. Go to works.com and use promo code NERD for 15% off. As for me, let's keep this conversation going on Twitter at Fimo or on Snapchat, it's Fimo Knows, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. First, let's get on the same page and just look at the trailer. We're treated to an angsty Ellie playing an acoustic guitar.
Everybody loves animals. Throw a cape on a puppy and people scream, "Yes, please give me more." And they did.